Hello and welcome to Hops and Bros, and this week, what's sliding through your DMs?
It's actually DMS. Be careful, because this one is going to be corny.
For an open window on the crowded world, Max and Chris from Ups and Ups and Welcome to Hops and Bros! Yeah.
You know what's funny about sliding through your DMs? No idea what that means. Way too old for that. My roommates, they pretty much know. I don't know what that means.
The only reason I know about it is because some people actually DM us on Instagram or Twitter for Ups and Bros.
Okay.
So I had to know about it.
Fair.
Yeah, that's the way we got to know Craig from BOS Podcast. He actually slid through our DMs.
Alright, so this week we'll be talking about off-flavours again, backed by popular demand. Last week we did diacetyl. This week we'll do the other big, there's a couple big off-flavors that you should know about. Diacetyl is definitely one of them. DMS is the second one. Hey Chris, what's DMS?
It's a big one.
Where does it come from?
It has a really nice scientific word that actually I'm the worst to pronounce words in English here on Ups and Bros, but I'm the one that has to do them. So without further ado, let's go. So it's dimethyl sulfides.
Dimethyl sulfide. Yeah, dimethyl sulfide.
This one. So DMS or dimethyl sulfide is mostly known in beer as the corn flavors or creamy corn, cooked corn that you can taste in your beer. It's kind of like a subtle flavor because if you're used to those corn adjuncts, lagers, and all that stuff, it's kind of maybe something that you're used to taste in beer.
It's one of those flavors where if you are used to tasting and if a brewery is known for having DMS and you don't know what DMS is, and from one day to the other they figure out how to get rid of it and you taste the beer, you might go like, oh, this beer tastes like crap now. What'd they do? Because it is fairly common, especially in those light lagers. And those American-style lagers that we love so much here. It's very common, and it is an off-flavor, but it is the kind of flavor that, because it's so common, sometimes people associate it with what it actually should taste like.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't. Or maybe it should. Who knows, right?
Who knows?
Taste is very subjective.
Exactly. So mostly found in lagers, DMS originate its problem from the malts used in the beer. So yes, Max will go a lot deeper on the subject, but mostly lighter malts are more keen to develop DMS further along the brewing process. That's why in stronger beers, yes, continue, Max.
Well, let's talk about this right now. So you're saying lager malts. Pilsner malts are the ones that have the most common ingredient or most concentration of methionine, whatever, SMM that we call it for short.
And it's not related to sadomasochism, something like that, right?
No, it's not. What's the acronym for that one?
SNM, I think.
SNM, yeah. No, it's SMM. So anyways, it is the building blocks for your DMS originating in your grain. Very prominent in your Pilsner malts, a lot less concentration in your two-row or your English pale ale malts. We're trying to slowly breed that stuff out of the malts because it is an off-flavor. And again, it's the kind of thing where in your German breweries, very unacceptable to have DMS in your Pilsners. Czech, a little more acceptable, and in some styles it's going to be acceptable, others it's not. It's the way of the world. So start with
if you give me the opportunity real quick.
For sure.
This is where we decided to do DMS as a second video. We already talked about it in the last video, but one of our of our viewers actually watches a lot of beer reviews from Poland and those areas where they have access to Czech Pilsners, where they do have a little bit more description around those off flavors, and they are in the way we talked about a little bit, kind of like it's kind of okay, but it's kind of on off flavor, you know? It's tolerable.
Well, Because it's in pretty much every single beer you drink, or because it's in the base of the ingredients you use to make your beer, it's become acceptable in a lot of different styles of beer because it's very hard to get rid of. So yeah, you start with your SMM in your mash. That's where it's going to develop. From there, as soon as you switch to your boil, that's where your SMM gets transformed into actual DMS. Now, it's one of the reasons why you want a roaring boil is actually to flash off those little particles of DMS.
So popping like this makes DMS.
Just, it leaves.
Yeah,
it leaves your wort.
Elevates.
So as it elevates it out of solution, which is key. It's also key to have a rolling boil, so that the surface tension of your wort gets broken, so that those particles can actually escape. Now your steam is going to take about it can take up to 10 particles of DMS out at a time. Problem is that with a good boil, you're only really taking 3 at a time. It can't fully take the 10. That's where you have some devices, like one that's at Cowbell. I forget the name right now. I said it earlier. But anyway, so they have a device that actually helps with that. It takes 9 particles at a time. It's kind of it gets flashed off and then flashed off again and flashed off again so that you get rid of as much DMS as possible. Another way to get rid of it if you're a home brewer is don't put the lid on and boil longer. 60 minutes should get rid of most of it, but if you boil for 90 or 120, you're getting rid of a lot more of that stuff. Also be careful, because as soon as you cool off your boil, you're actually reintroducing the DMS inside. It's just the boiling flashes it off, but if you don't boil, then it just keeps on creating and it doesn't get a chance to get out. So the faster you can cool your wort, send it to fermentation, put your yeast in, the less likely you are to have high concentrations of DMS in your beer.
Okay, so mostly DMS is the natural part of the cereals that we use in beer. It could be straight into the malts. Darker malts usually hides it because of the flavors. But to get rid of it, using a high quality boil, getting a nice rolling boil to get those flashing off, and also a cooling method that's really, really fast will help you getting rid of them. But mostly they are already in pretty much every beer, if I'm not wrong.
No, you're entirely correct. And again, if you're doing a style that has a need for Pilsner malt, expect it to probably be in there somewhere. And if so, do everything you can to try to mitigate it, to try to reduce it. Change your process, boil longer. I know that in an industry where you have to go, and you can never really stop, you want to shorten the amount of time you boil. Sometimes you can't. Beer is ready when beers are ready. It's very hard to dictate when a product that is very fickle like this is going to be ready. It's not your opinion, man. It's the beer's opinion. If the beer's ready, it is.
So we can add on this also a proper yeast management method will save you probably some of the work because you treat your yeast properly, so your beer properly, so it rewards you with a non-DMS or non-defective beer in the end process. That's how it's super fancy.
For DMS, it's mostly the grains. Your yeast, I guess, might eat a couple particles here and there, but nothing really big. Just boil, man. Boil it off.
Boil it off. So just flick it off with a nice boil.
That's pretty much what DMS is, yeah.
That's super easy. That's super simple.
Yeah.
We're getting super geek here, right? We know a lot of stuff now. We might have to dive into our older videos where we look a little bit bigger, right?
We might have to delete all those old videos so that people don't accidentally fall onto them and see how wrong we were about a lot of stuff. Anyways, if you like this video and you don't want to go see the other ones, leave a like, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below how much you like the whole off-flavor episode.
Yeah.
If you want to see more, and which off-flavors would you like to see?
Then let us know in the comments. And Max, you have the N word on this one. I'm not saying anything else because you covered DMS so perfectly again. King of off-flavors.
All right, perfect. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. And yes, the Saison I brewed has some DMS in. Happens. Cheers. Let's not talk about it anymore.